Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us at the Swift Current Museum as we begin today. And in the spirit of respect and reconciliation, we would like to acknowledge that we are gathered on Treaty 4 territory, the ancestral land of the Cree, Anishinaabe, Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota nations, and the homeland of the Métis people. Today, we are here to honor and remember our veterans and to show our respect for their service and sacrifice. The Veterans Banner program began in 2016, and since then, 71 banners have been displayed throughout Memorial Park and leading to the Royal Canadian Legion. Following today's ceremony, these banners will be hung in Memorial Park and around the cenotaph that was constructed in 1927 to honor those who served in the 209th Battalion Infantry in World War I. Today's ceremony is being recorded and will be available on YouTube for anyone who wishes to watch. At this time, I would like to invite His Worship, Mayor Al Bridle, to bring greetings on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It is a true honor to stand before you today on behalf of both City Council and City Administration as we gather to celebrate another meaningful chapter in the Veterans Banner program. The initiative, led by the Swift Current Museum, is a powerful tribute to our local veterans and active service members, a visual legacy that educates, inspires, and reminds us of the enduring value of service and sacrifice. Through these banners proudly displayed on the lampposts of Memorial Park, we are invited into a story of conflict, of courage, and commitment. The banners serve as a bridge between generations, ensuring that the lessons of the past are not lost in the rush of modern life. In an age where digital distractions often pull us away from reflection, these physical reminders are more important than ever. They compel us to remember intentionally, to honor those who have defended our freedoms, and to recognize the cost of peace. I want to extend a heartfelt welcome, or heartfelt appreciation to the Swift Current Museum for their unwavering dedication to not only preserve these stories, but celebrate them. I also wish to thank the organizers of today's events for bringing us together, and to all of you that have come here today. As we unveil these banners today, let us remember that freedom is never free. It is earned and protected by those who serve. May we continue to honor them not just today, but tomorrow also. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the 12 veterans that we are here today to honor. So beginning right over here, we have Daniel V. Egger. Daniel was born on August 21st, 1887 at Palmerston, Ontario. He came out to Saskatchewan in 1909 to homestead in the Notman area. On August 12, 1914, Daniel was enlisted in the Canadian Army and went overseas. He was wounded and gassed in action in Europe, returning home in December of 1917, suffering with rheumatic fever. Daniel passed away May 9, 1928, from the effects of the war. Russell John Budd was born on April 11, 1921, on the farm at Woodville, Ontario. Early years were spent on the family farm, but in 1939 he left the farm to work in Lindsay and then Peterborough. After the outbreak of World War II, he joined the RCAF and trained as an airman mechanic in Calgary. He was posted overseas to England, and in the fall of 1944, just weeks after his marriage to Marion Porter of Kincaid, Saskatchewan, he obtained the rank of LAC and served 2 years in England before returning home in 1946. He often told the story of having to repair damaged aircraft. Upon completion of the repairs, he would have to go for a ride in them to make sure the repairs were done correctly. In short, you did it right the first time. He returned to Canada and worked in the Swift Current Pontiac Buick GMC dealership, first as a mechanic, then as a parts manager, and finally as a car salesman. He was extremely successful, receiving numerous salesmanship awards until his retirement from selling cars in 1980. In 1956, he bought his first quarter section of land in the Stewart Valley district and expanded this to over 2,000 acres and 100 head of cattle in 1970. Russ and Marion have 5 children. Russ and Marion retired to Swift Current in 1988. Marion passed away in 1989, followed by Russ in 1995. Second Lieutenant H.A. Jean Campbell, Wallace. H.A. Jean Campbell was born in Swift Current on May 11, 1919, to James Wallace and Catherine and Grant Wallace. She grew up on her parents' homestead 7 miles southeast of Swift Current, then on their farm near McMahon. She attended elementary school at McMahon and high school in Swift Current, where she graduated in 1937. She obtained her RN at the Regina General Hospital, Grey Nuns, graduating with honors in 1942. She joined the Canadian Army in 1944, serving in the Royal Canadian Army Medical Corps until 1946. She served at the Army Hospital at Camp Dundurn, where she cared for wounded soldiers that had returned from overseas. After leaving the Army, she worked at the Fort Qu'Appelle Sanatorium, nursing tuberculous patients in 1947 and 1948. She continued her nursing career at the Canistino Hospital from 1950 to 1960. She returned to Swift Current in 1960, where she raised her 3 children while nursing at the Swift Current Union Hospital until she retired June 22, 1981. She returned to Swift Current in 1960, where she raised her 3 children. She died in Swift Current on December 21, 1996, and is buried at the Memorial Gardens Cemetery. Ross Stanley Dickey was born October 22, 1917, in Creelman, Saskatchewan. He enlisted with the Canadian Army on August 13, 1940, at Dundurn, Saskatchewan. He served with the 1622 Saskatchewan Light Horse until after the war in Europe was over, which was September 2, 1945. With the last entry in his paybook being June 4th, 1946. Ross returned to Saskatchewan with his war bride, by the name of Jean, to start life again, raising 4 children and living their entire lives in Saskatchewan. Charles Farage, 1895 to 1983. Charlie was born in Kent, England. After a stint in Chile as a sheep herder, he immigrated to Canada in 1915 as a farm worker in the Fox district near Waldeck, Saskatchewan. In 1916, he joined the Royal Navy Canadian Volunteer Reserves and served on the HMCS Niobe, HMS Victory, HMS Moldavia, HMS Vivid III, and the HMS Erin. While he was on the HMS Moldavia, it was struck by a torpedo and sunk in the English Channel. Charlie could not swim, but was fortunate to be one of the 200 survivors to be picked up by lifeboats. After the war, Charlie returned to farm work and eventually rented his own farm. He married May Harris, the local school teacher, in 1929, and they were blessed with 5 children, 2 of whom sadly died in childhood. The dirty 30s were difficult times on the farm, but Charlie and May survived through hard work and ingenuity. In 1941, Charlie enlisted in the RCAF. He and May bought a house in Swift Current so that the family would not be alone on the farm while he was away. Charlie was posted to the Swift Current Airport, then to the Medicine Hat Air Base. After his discharge in 1945, Charlie worked as a gardener at the Swift Current Experimental Farm and later at the courthouse. Charlie's descendants are very proud of his service to Canada. Elton Freeman, son of Eugene and Bada Freeman, was born in Fosterton, Saskatchewan, homestead on April 3, 1915. Eldon was the eldest of 5 born into the family. His siblings were Dorothy, Irene, Donald, and Geraldine. Elton enlisted with the RCAF in June of 1942. On August 26, 1944, Flying Officer Freeman and 6 other airmen were on board Halifax NZ-311 assigned to 78th Squadron of the RAF Bomber Command. They were returning from a mine-laying mission, and he had been subject to a considerable amount of anti-aircraft fire. On their return journey to RAF Brayton, they sadly perished on Cleve Hill, Gloucestershire. Local folklore regarding the 1944 crash over many decades led to a military aviation enthusiast in 2020 commencing to energetically research this crash. RAF and genealogy records were examined after 4 years of research and planning. A Halifax MZ-311 memorial dedication ceremony for those that lost their lives on the mission was held at the actual crash site. On that day, it was stated, we do this not to just remember their death, but to honor their service and bravery, so that we may live better lives in their honor. Proudly and thankfully, we remember Flying Officer Elton Freeman and the many others that served our country. This Veterans Banner is a project that Elton's last surviving siblings, Geraldine Rhea, would full-heartedly support, as Eldon had remained alive in her memory over the years despite only being a young girl when news of his death came to their family. Thank you, Swift Current Museum, for this legacy of our brave loved ones provided through this program. Barney G. Harder, Second World War. Barney was born October 27, 1922, near Beaver Flat, Saskatchewan, the eldest of Jake and Helen Harder. He had 6 siblings. He enlisted in the Army April 2, 1942, trained as an ordained corps soldier and qualified as a driver Class 3. For 36 months, Barney was a driver and tank transporter in the UK, France, and Belgium. Although his rank was private, he occasionally was promoted to acting corporal. He signed up to join the Pacific Theater, but the war was over before that happened and was honorably discharged December 3, 1945. Awarded the France and Germany Star, Defense Medal, Canadian Volunteer Service Medal with Clasp, and War Medal. He married Tina Funk in 1947. They had 2 children and farmed in the Stewart Valley area. Barney died suddenly May the 10th, 1970, at the age of 47. Arnold Odell Sanis is seen in this banner with his father Oscar and a World War I enlisted member. Arnold was born January 31st, 1924, and raised on the family farm near Hazelet, Saskatchewan. A young, athletic, and gifted student, Arnold excelled at all that he did. He also had a strong desire to someday be a pilot. Against his father's wishes, Arnold enlisted with the RCAF at 18 years of age in Regina, Saskatchewan. Eventually assigned to the 6th Bomber Group 432nd Squadron, Arnold attended Dominion Provincial Aeronautical Training School in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And he then transferred to Brandon, Manitoba, Manning Depot, and then to St. Thomas, Ontario. His service then took him to Saskatoon, where he began to apply his skills on the job before taking a troop training to Lachine, Quebec. Their next destination was Halifax, Nova Scotia, where they found themselves amidst thousands of other troops. These troops soon boarded the New Amsterdam II to sail to Scotland in very cramped conditions. Once in Scotland, the squadron took a train to the East Moor Drome near Yorkshire, England, where they spent more than 3 years. Initially, wanting to be a pilot, Arnold was disappointed to discover that he was colorblind, and so his piloting dreams were abruptly ended. However, as a gifted farm boy with good mechanical skills, Arnold became a structural flight engineer, an airframe mechanic. One never knew from day to day if the planes and fellow squadron mates would return from mainland Europe. Hundreds of sorties were flown, and many of these planes would not return. When the war ended in 1945, there were still many planes returning from Africa that needed to be serviced. So Arnold stayed on and was fortunately able to return home to Saskatchewan the following year in 1946. His journey home was aboard the Queen Elizabeth. Over the next 5 years, Arnold met Myrtle Greenway and married her in Swift Current in 1951. Partnering with his brothers-in-law and his fathers-in-law, they owned and operated Central Meat Market for a number of years. Arnold eventually had a long, successful career in sales with Sears, retiring in 1988. Myrtle and Arnold enjoyed traveling year after year to Arizona and especially treasured their time in Florida and Hawaii. Their greatest joy was spending time with their 3 children, Wayne and Laverne, Lonnie and Carol, and DeLee and Eric, along with 3 grandchildren at that time. The entire Sanis family are so very proud of Arnold and all the veterans who faithfully served their country, our country, which is Canada. We are proud and honored to reveal this banner in his memory. And right in behind me, we have Sonosuke Sam Nishimura. Sanosuke Nishimura and his parents and siblings farmed in the Antelope District. Private Nishimura joined the Canadian Expeditionary Force in 1918, 15th Battalion. He was in Canadian Infantry, 1st Central Ontario Regiment. He died July 14th, 1919, in hospital in England and was buried there in Ripon Cemetery. Harry Takeo Tanaka. In the fall of 1941, Harry Tanaka became a member of the 16th, 22nd Saskatchewan Horse and then 1st Canadian Armoured Brigade, Ontario, Tank Regiment, so the 11 CTR, HQ Company and C Company. He served in North Africa, Sicily, Italy, Belgium, and Holland. While in Holland, he became friends with a Dutch family who kept his name and address. Fortunately, his address had not changed, and in 1995, for the 50th anniversary of Holland's liberation, Master Corporal Harry Tanaka was the guest of honor for 3 Dutch villages. It was a proud moment for his family. Morgan Minoru Tanaka. Trooper Minoru Morgan Tanaka enlisted in the spring of 1941. He was in the 16th 22nd Saskatchewan Horse, 10th Canadian Armored Regiment, and Fort Garry Horse. He served in Normandy and Germany. His Sherman tank was hit near Kalkar, Germany on February 19, 1945, and he died the next day. He was 25. He is buried in the Canadian cemetery as Grosbeek, Nijmegen, Holland. Teisuke Tommy Tanaka. Teisuke Tanaka moved from Alberta to join the 209th Battalion in Swift Current in 1916. Private Tanaka served with the 10th Battalion in France. He was wounded on April 18, 1917, at the Battle PV Vimy Ridge. On August 15, 1917, he sustained serious wounds and lost his right eye. He was hospitalized for the rest of the war and spent some time in hospital in Regina when he returned to Canada. He married Toku Nishimura from the Antelope District, whose brother Sanosuke, known as Sam, was also a veteran of World War I. Two of the Tanaka sons, Harry and Morgan, were veterans of World War II. These veterans have faced great challenges and have shown incredible courage. Today, we proudly honor them and their families. Thank you for joining us today and for honoring all of these veterans.